What's up, guys? The Daytona 500 finished up last night, Monday night, and this episode was going to be a lot different. But obviously, if you tuned in and watched and all of that kind of good stuff, or were on Twitter at the very least and keeping track of what was happening, you obviously saw the almost tragic news of what happened to Ryan Newman. Luckily, I do want to state first and foremost that he's okay as far as being alive, obviously, but he has severe injuries. We don't know what those are yet. They have yet to pretty much give any details to what happened. There's some photos floating around that fans took from the stands, showing him getting like a neck brace on, looking like he's able to use his arms. And so we don't really know what the severe damage is, and all of those details, whether he is going to be able to race again, perhaps it's something with his legs, who knows. I don't want to speculate. I'm not going to speculate. All we know is that Ryan Newman has some sort of serious injuries that he's dealing with. He was brought to the ER immediately following the horrendous crash, but he is alive, which is above all the best news. Sorry if I sound sick. I've been sick all weekend. It's been a disaster. But to see this live and to have the panic and the stress and the overwhelming sadness of just constantly refreshing Twitter, hoping to see good news, and just, spending a few hours in the dark with the rest of the NASCAR community, not sure when we were going to get news, and just based on what we saw, thinking that it was a very real possibility to see someone go to the podium and say that we've lost Ryan Newman. I was fighting back tears pretty much the entire 2 hours that followed the race. I just remember when we saw the crash, I was watching with my wife, and as soon as the crash happened, I just remember us going dead silent and sort of just holding my head in my hands and just knowing that didn't look good immediately. It was pretty clear almost immediately that this was different. This was a different type of crash. And I very much thought that we had lost Ryan Newman. I do want to shout out the NASCAR community on Twitter, coming together and just being one family unit, to be there to comfort each other and to support each other. I do know that there was some of us that were handling it better than others, and there was a lot of high emotions, a lot of stress, and a lot of people desperately trying to find little bits of news and glimmers of hope. The race itself, knowing that Ryan Newman's okay, I feel comfortable talking about it. Gotta be honest, it was not very good. I defended the Clash in my last video, mostly because that race is meaningless, and so I figured, well, it's not that big a deal. I figured we wouldn't see anything like that on Sunday, and everything would be fine. That was not the case. A lot of this race was single file, and the package did not nearly look as good at Daytona as it has the last couple of times that we've went to Talladega. And towards the end of it, it just became the melee that the Clash was, where all of the cars made it basically to the last 10 laps, and then all hell broke loose, and then next thing you know, there's like 4 good cars left, and even then, obviously with Ryan Newman's wreck at the end, they couldn't even race that clean. How do you fix this? I have no idea, but this was not the kind of race that I wanted to see, really, and I felt like this was more of a black eye than I think the Clash was, because this is the Daytona 500, and this is the biggest race of the year. There was so many eyeballs on this race, and especially after having to wait through a rain delay and going to Monday night, and then get the product that we saw on track is not great. I don't love it. I think one of the scariest and eeriest things, I suppose, from this weekend was that I picked Ryan Newman to win the Daytona 500 all weekend long. I've been tweeting about this and mentioning it on Instagram and various things. I run a fantasy league between my dad, my brother, my wife, and my coworker, and I picked Ryan Newman to win the race in the little race winner thing on Fantasy. I was jumping up and down. I was so excited. I couldn't believe he was going to win. He was being pushed to the front. I was cheering. I was screaming. I'm not even that big of a Ryan Newman fan, I'm not going to lie. But I was like, I can't believe I predicted this. And the reason I had predicted it was because he was so good on plate tracks over the last few races. I believe the Clash, the duels, but I was thinking even further back to Talladega last year. He finished second in that race with Ryan Blaney, ironically, who ended up also finishing in second place in this year's Daytona 500. Ryan Newman has been looking excellent on plate tracks recently, and I just felt something that he was going to be there at the end. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to pick this sort of dark horse choice. And so I was so excited, and when the crash happened, it was like I was at the highest of highs and suddenly just fell down to the lowest of lows and couldn't believe what I was seeing. So I think that made things even more eerie and scary and sad. Just this sort of high of feeling like I can't wait to make this video telling everyone I told you so. And Ryan Newman did it and all this kind of stuff. And, then suddenly that not being the case, and it could have been even worse. The truck race was okay. I think Grant Enfinger won, and I absolutely hate Grant Enfinger. I think he is one of the douchiest drivers I've ever seen. Can't stand him. His attitude sucks. His driving style is garbage. I absolutely can't stand Grant Enfinger. And seeing him win that truck race really just pissed me off and made me frustrated. Noah Gragson got his first win in the Xfinity Series. I like Noah Gragson. I've got a couple of his diecasts. That was really cool to see him win, and he'll finally get his first ever raced version diecast, which is awesome. He had a really fun celebration. He's one of the most genuine guys in the garage, and it was just cool to see somebody with that level of enthusiasm. And I really didn't like when a lot of the media people were saying something like, get to victory lane already, or he was taking too long, or whatever. It's your first win, and you won at Daytona. I think he should be able to celebrate as long as he wants out there. I don't care if he went out and did a Polish victory lap and then did all of the stuff that he did and like 10 more burnouts. It doesn't matter. He could sit out on the front stretch all day long and sign autographs. I don't give a shit. It's his win. You don't get to dictate that, okay? And I'm sure that TV would like him to be in victory lane so that they can show all of that with the confetti and this and that, but I just feel like the emotion of the moment is so much more important, especially for a young driver, than just getting a good TV, this and that. I thought all of that was kind of nonsense. Let the kid celebrate, for God's sake. He's like 20, okay? Like, just let it go. Anyways, hug your loved ones, please. Be kind to each other online. If you liked this, please go ahead and share it and give it a like, all that kind of good stuff. My channel's still really small, so anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.